Hello, good morning, what's new? 3 meals plus bedtime make for 4 sure blessings every day. Mason Cooley. Someone asked me recently to talk for Motivational Mondays about sleep. I don't really know what to say about sleep. I could talk about the studies that show how important a full 8 hours of sleep are. I could talk about those that say your sleep is something that should be done in cycles, or there are some studies that show about how your circadian rhythm is based on the sunlight and the moon, and some people are just naturally different that make them more night owls or early birds. Something about catching worms or hunting at night. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a great sleeper. I would not go as far as to say I have constant insomnia. Wouldn't say that I am a great dreamer or that I don't toss and turn. I wouldn't even feel comfortable saying that I've had a full 8 hours of sleep in the last decade. What I can tell you is a little bit about how I fall asleep and stay asleep. Last year, when Davy, my cat, was diagnosed with feline diabetes, I was scared. I lost a lot of sleep over why my precious little boy went from loving and energetic to lethargic and isolating. And after he had his test done to diagnose him, I lost sleep about learning how to inject him with insulin every day and switching his and Huey's food and completely changing their way of life. My cats used to be free-fed daily. There was always food in the bowl, multiple water areas, and always clean litter. Now they'd be put on a strict feeding schedule with no kibble, only raw meats. I had to change what type of litter I used and their water bowls. I had to change where they were fed and the timing of their food because that became a necessity. Davy has to receive a shot every 12 hours and must eat before the shot. I have a very small window of time in which I must feed him and Huey and administer the shot of insulin. This forced me on a new schedule. Right now, the cats eat at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., which means I now have to wake up at 6:30 each day to get ready for work, feed the cats, and give Davy his medicine. I also can't stay out after work or schedule things until after 7 p.m. The schedule has helped me quite a bit in managing my sleep. I now go to bed around the same time each night, and I wake up at the same time every single day. This sleep schedule helps me rest quicker, stay asleep, and reach my REM cycles more consistently. Speaking of REM cycles, did you know that most people run on 45-minute sleep cycles? This is something I think of when I fall asleep now. I no longer lay in bed with insomnia thinking, if I fall asleep right now, I will have 5 hours and 17 minutes of sleep. Now, I think, if I fall asleep now, I will be able to successfully have 5 full REM cycles. The key is trying to get a full REM cycle. When you wake up, if you're feeling groggy, it's probably because you woke up in the middle of your cycle. If you can time your sleep so you're waking up at the end of it, you'll wake up feeling more rested and more refreshed. You want your body to go through the full cycle, if possible, allowing your body to go into deep sleep. I keep track of this using an app on my phone. It is called Sleep Cycle. And what I love about it is that I can set my alarm for the time that I need to be up, 6:30, and it listens to me. It listens to my breathing, my movements, my snoring, my talking in my sleep, and it knows when to start my alarm. The alarm feature is probably my favorite part because I tell it to give me 45 minutes to wake up restfully. So at 5:45, it starts my alarm at a very low volume with a very peaceful type of sound. And if I'm conscious enough to hear it, I can just tap my phone and it snoozes my alarm. I don't have to look at the app. I don't have to look at the phone to find the snooze button. I just tap my phone. And it tries and 7, 8, 10 minutes later to see if I'm ready to wake up. If I'm not conscious enough to tap it, after a few seconds it realizes that I'm still sleeping and it snoozes itself. It's a really nice and gentle way to wake up each morning. The cats also listen for this, and I've noticed when I've woken up in like the middle of the night to go pee or something, that the cats are actually peacefully sleeping at night too. And when the alarm sounds, it's like they start to get closer. They'll cuddle for a little bit, and at 6:30, no matter where I am in my sleep cycle, the alarm goes off. It sounds loudly. I will not have a way to snooze it. I will have to get up and turn off the alarm. I have to look at the app to turn it off. And I can tell you that on most days, I am wide awake and feeling rested before the 6:30 alarm, because the alarm has allowed me to slowly wake up at the end of a cycle. I will lay there with the cats for a little bit and we'll just snuggle until the alarm goes off and I can no longer snooze it. Then I get a snapshot of how I slept. It gives me like a graph showing when I was in deep sleep versus when I was awake. It tells me how long I was asleep and lets me listen back to any deep breathing, any snoring, any talking I've done in my sleep. It's a really awesome app. Oh, another tip I have for you is to stop drinking caffeine at least 6 hours before sleep. 8 to 12 if you can manage it. I am a big coffee drinker. I drink coffee every single day until noon, and then, depending on the day, I may have a soda. Usually I don't. Usually I switch to water. Now, I will tell you, I don't like water. It is very rare that I am going to choose water alone. But to help me with my water intake, I have a soda stream. So I can carbonate my water. It's like it gives my tongue the feeling of drinking a soda, but without the caffeine. I know what you're thinking. Carbonated water, it tastes like farts. I agree. But I am a grown-up, and I will drink my carbonated water exactly how I like it. With Kool-Aid. That is exactly what I do. If I'm not at home to use the soda stream, I will stop at like a gas station and grab a bubbly. I like the strawberry ones. I still add Kool-Aid to it. Lastly, some final tips that I use in regards to sleep. I do like to listen to an audiobook when falling asleep. I tend to listen to a story that I know pretty well so that I'm not listening for something new. I also want the narrator to have a soothing voice. This could be something like a sleep story on YouTube, or I know there's a bunch of apps that offer sleep stories. It could be just an audiobook. There's one that I've listened to 100,000 times, the Harry Potter series, read by Jim Daly. Jim Daly? Jim Dale. I set a timer for 15 minutes, or find a sleep story that is, between 7 and 15 minutes long. And I usually fall asleep before the end of the 15 minutes. If I'm still awake, I may try a sleep meditation. I also know that there are days when I cannot get my brain to fall asleep, when I cannot just stop and fall asleep. So I use my tried and true breathing technique. It relaxes the body, it focuses your mind. You breathe in for 4, hold 2, exhale for 6. You're focusing on your counting and it kind of tricks your brain. I'm a side sleeper, so I usually do this starting on my back, but I naturally will fall into my side. So I breathe in for 4, hold 2, and then exhale for 6. And every time I do it, I try to slow my counting so that I'm focusing my counting and let my body naturally relax itself until I'm asleep. Breathe in for 4, hold 2, exhale 6. Then the next time, breathe in for 4 slower, hold 2, exhale 6 slower. And repeat this and slowly slow down your counting. And lastly, if you're tired, go to bed. Get some sleep. Be kind to one another.
Life is just